One, and we are live.
Welcome, 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 everyone, to another adventure into reality. Today is a live call-in show. So the description is in the chat or in the show description. Sorry, the link is in the chat or in the show description box, where you come to a Zoom room, where you click the reaction buttons, and you click raise the hand, and you get to be selected to be a caller. That is how we are doing the callers now. We've simplified it for everybody. We highly encourage you all that have been listening. Come on in, have a chat. It doesn't always have to be serious. Ask me anything. That is what we are here to do. Quick understanding, the Democratic National Convention is going on today. And with that ending, the next layer of the apocalypse will begin because everything's been on pause for that. We will be having our makeup episode for the Loosh Report this coming Friday, where I will give you the missing Loosh Report because I made a mistake, didn't give the Loosh Report, and we had a number of Karens complain in the chat. And now, Karens, you have spoken to the manager, and the manager has spoken to the high manager, and the high manager spoke to the board. So we will be giving you an extended Loosh Report this coming Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, on Rumble, as we do start our Loosh Report and then go into our game stream. With that being said, Joel, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who has actually raised their hand has come into this room here.
Well, nobody quite yet.
Oh, we've got people to admit. That's fine.
Oh, here we go. All right.
You are in. Did you want to raise your hand and you've been in for so long, waiting for so long? I'm sure you did.
Yeah, and you should be able to unmute. Or you might have to give them signal to unmute.
Oh, hold on. Let me make you host. Okay, you're host. Sorry. I forgot to do that.
All right, signal to unmute.
Maria, are you there? Okay, we've got somebody else in the chat. Go ahead, hit the reaction button, click raise your hand if you want to have a conversation with me. As we have a flood of people coming in now. Give your chance. Hey, Shelly. Signal to unmute to Shelly.
Hi, yes.
Hi, where are you calling from?
I'm Shelly Emma. I'm calling now
Hey,
from
we've got somebody else in
Portugal.
the chat. Go ahead, hit the reaction button, click raise your computer. If you want to.
Oh, I think I have my YouTube also open. Let me just close
we have
it.
a flood of people coming in now. Give your chance. Hey, Shelly.
Hi, can you still hear me?
Signal to unmute. Yeah, Shelly.
Hi.
Yeah. Where are you calling from? Still playing.
Next, what do I do? Because I'm already up there.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm so sorry. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So where are you calling from, Shelly?
Well, I'm calling from Portugal, southern Portugal.
Southern Portugal. Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
I was expecting to have this live maybe in like 3-4 days. So I'm a bit surprised about it. Okay, I know what I would like to speak of. I'm very curious about alchemy.
Okay.
And I've been to the pyramids and Egypt nearly 2 years ago. I
Huh?
visited twice in this carnation,
Okay.
and there was something in the Hatshepsut temple, which is the death temple, and also I guess the Hathor temple, which is next to the crocodile ones,
Yeah.
that I felt that they were um, also dealing with a lot of sex magic, but for actually healing modalities. And the other point was about rejuvenating DNA cells and so on and so forth, like that you can really have how would you say, long life, like 300 years of age. You can
Uh-huh.
have that practice in these temples, and I'm wondering if you have any idea about what I'm talking about.
I do. I've actually been to all those temples myself, and I had my own experiences in them. So the elixir that you're talking about comes from a something known as mana, and that was extracted through an alchemical process and made for the elites in the various religions or alchemists or high priests, etc., who could have the extended life that showed the ability to study at a grand level. So that's something that came from practicing from a very young age, and then being selected from a very young age to go to the variety of teachers, places, and learn not just alchemy, but healing, sound vibrations, stone cutting. You were a master of many skills, and then you were given your elixir that extended your life. Now, the sex magic, so that is a very common thing. So it was not just for fertility. It was to also imbue objects of power with energy that could give powerful charisma to a leader. It could help them negotiate in trade battles and wars. It could also be used for aggressive energy. Now, what a lot of the people that were a part of the Hathor or the Set or the variety of different sex cults that were there, they had partners that they were bonded with, and they would be bonded with 3 to 5 years before they would switch to another partner. And they would start by harvesting each other's energy in a prayer in a private prayer circle, and then there would be another priest that would go on and collect a variety of different prayer circles slash sex magic energy and bring it into one place, and then every full moon everyone would come in and add their energy to this pool of all this sex magic energy that would bind everybody into a cult or a coven or whatever you want to call it. And then they would be trained in various sexual processes that would allow for very high frequency orgasm that would then bless an area. It would also be used to bless fields, crops, beers and brews, also the assembling of yeast. It was oftentimes used, there would be unique sex magics done in the center of massive beehive rings, where they would have 50, 60, maybe even 100 beehives, and you would have a group that would come in there, and the bees would never sting them because they were master beehive people too, but then they would blend with that energy and help them harvest more pollen, more honey, etc. And it was a way to use this particular type of magic and energy to bless areas, ground into the frequency, bring protection, have the ancestors speak to them, have a deeper understanding of the unseen world environment in those particular areas that where they were adding that energy to.
Okay, I'm breathing.
There's more. I mean, it was an integral part of the culture. Okay. And these were not prostitutes in any way, shape, or form. They were highly trained magicians that use sexual energies in a group, but not polyamorous format, until they elevated their skill after 3 to 5 years, in which they were getting a second partner and possibly a third partner before they were elevated into an elite group of women and an elite group of men that would go to special places of power. Like oftentimes, if they were going to be collecting massive stones out of a quarry, long-term sexual ritual magics would be done over the area to make the quarry accept the magical energies and prepare it for cutting, etc.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by that? To prepare it for cutting and quarrying?
Cutting a stone in a quarry.
What is the word quarry? What does it mean?
It's a place where they get the stone out of the ground.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting what you're saying, because now, retrospectively speaking, about maybe 6 years ago, I had this when I started to wake up in a deeper level than the other consciousness that already opened up through medicinal use, like sitting with the ayahuasca and so on, like 8 or 9 years ago it was. So I was having this intimate relationship with this boyfriend, and I just started to breathe heavily, and I thought that I know what I'm doing with sex magic and so on. And I got to that place that I was healing a village in Africa. Like I felt that beam of light that goes over there to the water. So I'm very connected to water. And I felt that, and obviously everyone around me thought I'm completely insane. And like my whole body was truly with goosebumps, because
Was that during an orgasm?
No, it was more when you were talking about the partners that we were
Bonded with?
partnering with, and then a few years later we would change. I'm already saying we.
Yeah.
And I mean the big orgasms, I feel I do have that senses that I can explode into a million pieces and I can bring a lot of healing to the world. But really the goosebumps were more when you were talking in depth about some of these structures. And then what came to me to ask you as well is, like, I feel sometimes the body is like a sacred geometry.
It
that
is.
If we are connecting ourselves specifically in intimacy, we create a new structure, and that structure vibrate a certain frequency of light. And then that is like a level that I also felt that probably came from the
Let-
Egyptian times.
Let me simplify it.
Okay.
So we do have sacred geometry. In fact, many pieces of sacred geometry. It all depends in which direction the consciousness is exploring the magical reality, the physical reality, the unseen reality. And if the consciousness is not tuned into the unseen reality, they have a limitation to what types of sacred geometry they can use. But built inside our sex organs and inside our DNA are things like orgasmic state that allow us to bypass whatever our consciousness limitations are. Now, before you were saying about exploding and healing in the world, in fact, you should be controlling that energy so it's not an explosion, that it's an implosion, adding more light to you. So the whole point of that type of orgasmic consciousness understanding is to not waste that light on an explosion, but to add to your core frequency, to strengthen your capacity to do hands-on healing first, vibratory healing second, sound healing third, until such a time that you've mastered that on plants and animals. Okay. Until then, you will move to a state where you'll be working with people. A lot of people in the consciousness movement or in the spiritual movement today instantly want to jump to helping people. You must absolutely help yourself first, master the basics, or you will run into situations where people, places, and things will abuse your explosive energy, and you will never know that they are misusing it until you've been used up and cast away.
Oh, I completely get it. And actually, it's funny that you're mentioning it. I started with animals like 3 years ago. Animals just speak with me, and there was a spider, and I'm also a bit, I don't particularly like them, though I understood that I got to get over it. And I built also altars, shrines.
Uh-huh.
And so I placed it on one of my altars, and he was sick, and he was there for like sick in my eyes. Yeah, my humble, very human eyes. And he wanted to be there. And for around 48 hours, it was 2 nights. that he was there. I was sleeping outdoors, and it wasn't moving, like we were right next to a forest. I mean, so many other insects could have come and picked him up. And on the third day, I released him and I said, you're a free being, you're free to go. And he vanished the following day. So I kind of started, like, from that incident 6 or 7 years ago with that boyfriend. I realized, I guess, in a way also, I don't want to go externally, and I was working on going internally and
Yep.
going to little things with animals. But what I wanted to share is that, what was it? It was a year and a half, yeah, maybe 2 years ago as well. My partner back then, he got stung by a wasp, and he got really, he got scared off. He went to the hospital, what have you. Then he got back and met me, and I felt that throughout the intercourse that we're having, that I'm healing him, and I was.
You got to stop. You got to stop thinking that. That will lead you down to mind trails that will create misuse of your own energies by yourself. You are not the healer of others. You are the opening of the door, and the others heal themselves. If they use part of your energy to go through a journey, they're not really doing it for themselves. If you stick down that belief system, it will bite you in the ass many times over.
Oh, it did. You know what? Yeah, I guess that's what happened on that same night. I realized that it's still not, yeah, it's not the way to go. Though it did make an effect, I've done it in
Sure,
trial and error.
that's why being a healer is tricky, especially if you don't have your emotions in check, or you don't have the capacity to regulate your impulses. It's very easy to step on another's journey as a healer. You are there to open the door and help the body wisdom get back there. Yes, there are master techniques that help open up because you're contacting the body. Oftentimes, the mind is so disconnected from the body. When we start doing work on the body, we're simply reconnecting it back to the mind. And oftentimes, the mind will reject the healing. And we see this happening in healing situations all the time. That's why it's so vital to treat the person as a complex being. And you can't do things for others. You are a facilitator here.
Thank you. So that's the terminology. True. Though it's still inside of my veins, if I'm saying it, if the word came that I'm healing someone.
You are a facilitator in that healing energy, and your vibration and frequency is catalyzing them into a set of choices. Now, it's very important as a healer, you do not use your core energy to heal. If you do, you are giving away your energy and ultimately bartering yourself, because you only have a limited amount of core energy. And if you keep giving a little core energy, that means their core energy comes back to you, and you end up getting watered down.
Yeah, I get it. I had to do it, but I get it, of course.
That was part of the experience of growth. Okay.
Yeah. So my mind is completely so fascinated and intrigued by that. It's also. Wait, I wanted probably to ask you something else. I wanted to ask you something about has been going on, about speaking about the epiphanies of Nuestra Señora de Fatima and the Gog Magog, Megiddo Mountain in Israel, and that water spring. If you know anything about that.
I do. So, are we in the time of the final Fatima prophecy? Yes. Can that prophecy be changed? Yes, it can. There are time manipulation things going on in which things can change the linear perceptions. The spring in Israel, it's been an ancient, powerful place that magic has been done on since thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years. It has technology underneath it. Crystals that are the size of giant, big 18-wheeler trucks. That was purposely seeded into that area because of the types of worship energy that would be all throughout the Middle East as part of a seeded civilization during the Babylonian and Egyptian times from about 65,000 years ago. Now, the original seeders of that were off-world beings who came here to teach the humans here at this time how to see deep underground crystals and make them in above-ground situations so that they can create a network of seeded crystals all over the world so they could tap at the deep inner energies from the earth and bring it up so that the pyramid grid around the world could pull that energy in and could go through a transmutation process where that energy from deep in the earth would be brought into the pyramid, vibratorily changed, and then spread out through the capstone. And any conscious being that's within a few hundred miles of any pyramid would be absorbing that energy and accelerating their consciousness growth, having life force extended. This would include the plants and animals too.
Wow. Thank you. I'm intrigued about it. First of all, I live here in Portugal, and ever since I visited Fatima twice, and each time I went there was another strong connection to a carnation probably I've had here. And actually the second time was the day that the war in Israel started, so the 7th of October, unknowingly, because it was in the morning that we received the news. And then I realized also that the Megiddo, I heard about this whole, what was it, the 8th of April solar eclipse, right?
Yep.
That's when I heard about these connections. And I was, my mom and my dad, so my mom is Jewish, my dad was Catholic, and they went to the Bethlehem the evening of Christmas, and then they came back home and they made love, and I was conceived, and that was a kilometer from the Megiddo.
All right, so that means you are a karmic baby who has a dharmic path. That means the energies of those ancient places were absolutely a part of helping birth you as a soul in the physical body that has a specific lineage. That lineage has specialized skills that you have to learn to unlock.
Would you care to share a bit more about that?
You're already getting into them. The ability to perceive, receive, understand, things come naturally to you. So it starts with breath work and being in the body. You've never been in the body before. You got to learn how to bring all of your soul into the body and not be external. All too often, people in this modern world, they're really only half in their body. You got to learn to be all in your body, embodiment, and then the realization of what embodiment means. And once you're able to fill your soul inside the body, you will begin to unlock some of those lineage skills. What a lineage skills is, many souls have incarnated into the line that you are in right now. And they have left specialized skills, psychic skills, physical skills, emotional skill sets, so on and so forth, and purposely imprinted into the DNA. So somebody that is powerful enough to be an realized embodiment in a physical form in a linear time would get access to those skills for the purpose of becoming a teacher, high-level way shower, a healer, potentially a politician, but the corruptive powers of politicians can be very tempting to go down the wrong way, because you might be a politician for one purpose, to come in and get a change for this generation, knowing that the next generation will change it, but somebody else must take your place. Being a leader, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A scientist, a creative person, there to bring beauty to the world, as well as expanding what all of the different individual potentials that love can be experienced through.
It's fascinating. Thank you for mentioning it. Yeah, I feel the strongest connection to water that I have. I move water. And when I used to listen to you back in Corona time, and then I had a bit of a break when you expanded. And it was confusing for me to catch up. Before that was a bit simpler. And I started to do your invocation and revocation. Parallel to it, I studied also to become a curandera from a Mayan lineage. And and I think it was, I don't remember, of course, the episodes we're talking about Corona time. And you spoke about the people with energy, and specifically one that bring water, like thunders and rain and all that, and how it's so related to emotions, which I knew of it, but there was something in the way you presented things that really brought me to work inwards. So I very much relate to what you say now, and I'm a bit tired, to be honest. I'm gonna turn 47, and I'm a Virgo, so it will be the beginning of September. And I'm kind of tired of keep on trying to bring myself into surrender, to bring myself into the body, and to bring, and yet on the other hand,
you're missing something if you're not getting into the body. Getting into the body should be one of the easiest things that is out there.
To stay.
The thing is, you have adult issues with adult complex processes that are keeping you from mastering the technique of getting into the body and staying into the body for days and weeks at a time. What kind of job do you do?
Well, I'm trying to be the artist that I am, and I'm trying to open my clinic as a healer. And I used to do twice a month moon circles where I build my altars and people come for healing.
Okay.
So I wasn't really making too much money out of it.
The answer is you don't have a job.
I have a very low income right now.
You need to solve that. There is going to come a moment in your life that you will realize that having a job creates money that opens up creativity for the spiritual you. You went headlong into trying to create instantly the income out of the healer's position and didn't realize that being a healer means you're in business for yourself, and that you have to have a very solid business model to make it work. Spirit will not bring everything to you without you doing the work on business. And I talk about these in my shows all the time. You have the experience of spirit, but you have to bring the business aspect in. You have to have a complete website that defines what your menu of services. You've got to be able to have email capture. You've got to be able to advertise to people, and a Facebook page just isn't enough. Okay, you have to have presence on social media. So it means there's a set of skills that are foreign to the spirit in you that you must master. And until you master those skills, you will only get the drip and feed, drip and drip and drip and drip of clients coming in, and then you'll have long bouts of nothing coming in. And I'll be blatantly honest, there's not a lot of money in the field, especially in the very beginning. Until you're doing 15 sessions a week, you're still going to be a pretty poor person. Now, energetically, can you imagine doing 15 sessions a week? That's 60 sessions per month.
Yeah.
Do you have the endurance? Do you have the endurance for 60 sessions a month?
I feel I can definitely do 3 a day. So yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Well, currently, right now, you're right. Though I believe I do have it. I was going to
get to that level, your entire spiritual practice must evolve at least 2 times, so that you don't fall back to your lowest previous frequency, and your new highest frequency the next month or the next 3 months is going to be your next lowest. And it is a step up of exponential strength of expression. Right now, you're operating in a 9-volt battery environment. Okay, every now and then you plug into the wall and get 120 volts. You must evolve out of the 9-volt, which is your current perception of what high frequency is, and quadruple the amount of energy that goes through you every day without it harming the body, but grounding into the body, opening up potentials of new lines of sight that will show you through intuition, business, healing, expression, creativity, artwork, all the new things, because a whole new level of high frequency exists to expand your creative vision.
Yeah.
Okay.
I lost a bit the energy with hope and faith lately.
Well, hope and faith can only get you so far. Eventually, hope turns into hopium. Okay?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
my advice for you is you have to advance your practice. The practice that you do daily has to mean more to you. Okay? Right now, you're subsistence living, and subsistence living will not advance your spirit.
What is subsistence?
You have just enough to survive.
Yeah, this is true. It's exactly the point that I am.
That is an essential low frequency. Even though you believe you have a high frequency, and you do, but you are never going to be able to maintain that high frequency. And it's the higher and higher frequencies you achieve that has the potential to attract more clients through your model that you've set up, so spirit can use the model to direct people to you. Like if I didn't have a website and a YouTube channel, how would you have ever found me? And that goes for anyone in the audience. If I didn't maintain it over 10 years, going on 12 years now, how would anybody find me? If I didn't do a Gaia TV show and I didn't do interviews and I didn't master the business and have employees and do products, how would anyone know what it is that I do? You have to build your legacy, your touchstone that gets you to move forward, your first product, your first this, your first that, your second, your third, your fourth.
First, still,
Yeah.
though, I got this kind of black magic and another thing that was attacking me and was in my system like a parasite for 30 months, I guess. And it was out 2 months ago, but it completely drained me off. And not that I was high before, but it was just like just brought me to a new level of depth. And I'm like, oh gosh, is there any way out of this pit right now? What's going on?
Now you have to build the stairway out of despair and into repair, and from repair to abundance. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You have all the tools available to you. Okay? You cannot settle for the day of subsistence living. Every day you have to figure out what to do to raise your frequency, what to do to hustle for clients, and you can't stay in your head. The more you stay in your head, the more you're not actually in your body. And there's going to be a common realization to you that this head energy that you're experiencing, you believed it was full embodiment. But as you get stronger and stronger, more of the energy in the head will spread to the rest of the body, and the more you'll see how much that head energy was your limitation. Because when you're in the full body, you have far more access to visionary processes that give you instant wisdom of what to do next.
Yeah, which I definitely know what you're talking about. I felt that, and thank you so much for these accurations and that you see all this in me. Perhaps this is the pep talk that I needed to hear about.
You need to put yourself in self-imposed boot camp, okay? Where you have to critically hold yourself accountable every day to raising your frequency, expanding your business, socializing and hustling while you're socializing with normal, everyday muggle human beings. If you have a hard time of being around everyday normal human beings, how are you ever going to be a healer?
I actually like now to be around human beings. I've become much humbler. The thing is that, as you say, with the hustling, and that's the paradox with like coming to start to heal.
But
Before
it isn't
a salesperson, but now I cannot sell my own shit. It's like
it isn't a paradox. It's an inner character flaw that you jumped head and heels into spirit and didn't pay attention to the rest of the model that spirit was asking you to create. The business is just as much as spirit. The spirit of business is in you, and the spirit of business flows through you. Right now, you're not channeling it, you're not working it, and you're actively blocking it. It is a spirit guide for you. I've learned this over and over and over again.
I can do that.
Darling, I got to move on to the next caller. It's great talking to you.
You're amazing. Thank you so much,
You're-
Andrew. And thank you for the highlights with the Egyptian
You're welcome.
rhythms.
All right.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, Joe, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
All right, Leah, signal to unmute.
Leah, are you there?
I'm here. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, where are you calling from?
Montana.
Montana. Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
Thank you. I was intrigued by the title of the show today, and also I spoke to you recently on your Tuesday show about my sex life. And so I'm calling back on the Thursday show.
Okay.
So I talked to you about how my husband has cancer and our sex life has been low, and I've had a lot of anger surrounding that issue.
Uh-huh.
And your advice was to orgasm.
Yes. And how did that work?
So the month has been good. Thank you very much. I recognize though my own tendency to dismiss the advances from my husband, which I'm trying to work through, but also in connection to today's topic, I'm wondering how it connects to my past hypersexuality and then my current almost asexuality.
Okay, so when you were in a hypersexual moment, you weren't married and didn't have a partner who has cancer and in life and in the whole environment, children, etc.
Correct.
You were free. You are
Yeah.
not free now, and your asexuality is a pouting energy of the inner child that you are not free. And you do not have emotional regulation inside you or impulse control sufficiently enough to be an adult woman who knows you need that love to come through you, and that actively blocking it is the pouting child in you.
Yeah, for sure. I got stuck at the impulse control word because that seems to resonate. That's always been an issue for me. I'm kind of rebellious. I've definitely done things that were counter to my best interest because of my low impulse control.
And this is what's going on by rejecting your husband's advancements. And it's damaging you and him seriously.
I'm just turning it over in my head, thinking about what question to ask.
Okay. I remember telling you that, you're shutting it down. He's not the one shutting it down. You're the one shutting it down. And you had that realization during the show, didn't you?
Yes. And I've been pretty intentioned about trying to open myself back up again. I mean, I feel like it's going pretty well, but I recognize immediately when I'm not doing that.
Okay, so what did you do to make advances onto your husband this last month?
I sent the kids away.
Okay, you sent the kids away. Then what?
We went on a date. We enjoyed each other's company.
Okay.
We had time together.
Okay. Did you tell him about what was going to happen, or did you just jump it on him and show him the boobies?
Yeah. No, I did talk to him about, he knows that I follow you and I followed you for years and that I trust your input. So I told him pretty immediately that I had given you a problem and you had given me a prescription. And we both laughed about it, and the laughter really opened up the joy again.
Okay.
And the conversation.
Okay.
So over the last,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Over the last month, I've been less angry and more aware that the answer is simple, but it's still hard for me to make the jump.
Because of that pouting, rebellious part of you who wants to take control.
So how do I wrap her back into the fold, into the program,
that'll be the toughest part of your orgasmic journey. The orgasms will break down 80% of her control. The last 20% is the inner work to take all of her tools to rebuild away. And so she's just an inner child. and then you learn to play with that inner child. You begin to heal that inner child. Right now, it's an adult inner child with weapons and armor and a car. Okay, and
Yeah.
it's keys to all the rooms inside you to do whatever it wants.
Hmm.
Okay, so when you began engaging in sexuality with your husband again, did the orgasms come right away?
No,
Okay, what was the challenge?
just letting go of the control, closing
Okay.
my eyes, not trying to like be a part of every moment.
So when you were hypersexual, was there particular clothing that made you feel alluring?
Mm, I wouldn't say my sexuality was related to my clothing, but more like my manner of being. I was just like very flirtatious, very sexual, the way I moved in my body. And I feel disconnected to that sexiness.
You are disconnected because the rebel had most of the control of the flow of that sexy, rebellious girl. Does that make sense?
Kind of. I'm also toiling with a call I had with you a few years ago when
Mhm.
I admitted that I had done sex work in the past. And pretty much what I remember from that conversation is you saying that like sex work isn't what it used to be. And what that brings me to is some connection to a past self where I was really good at that.
It isn't about the past self. It's what you did this lifetime. Okay. What got you
Okay.
what got you into the sex work?
Money, I mean, on the basic level, like physical level, I just wanted
What kept
money
you
to
in it?
spend.
What kept you in it?
The thrill of the rebel inside me being like, yeah, fuck everyone. Like,
There you go. There's your answer. That's when the rebel took over your sexuality. You have to take it back from her.
okay.
Okay. And you got to do it by being the adult woman who has a partner that you couldn't technically have unlimited relationships with as long as you can get rid of the kids. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And go to that place of ask me what to do, tell me what to do. You
Mm,
don't need to be re-channel aspects of the sex worker self, but you're not really doing it because you're with your partner.
right.
Okay, be a fantasy fulfiller for him,
Hmm.
and help use that fulfilling of a fantasy for him to heal you. That's two birds, one stone.
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, how long were you in sex work for?
Just not even a year, just for a few months in college.
Okay. And roughly how many clients do you think you had?
Mm, I don't know, 40 maybe.
Say 40. That's a pretty high amount, okay,
Yeah.
in that amount of time.
Yeah.
What do you think that's done to you?
Um,
Their individual energies.
I think it's made me disgusted with humanity.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
It's what's also shutting you down to your energy towards your husband. He is not a man paying for sex. He's your husband.
No.
And you
Yeah.
got to remind yourself of that over and over and over again. Okay. I have love for him. He has love for me. We have children. I am not that sex worker anymore. But all
Absolutely.
of the things that the sex worker got that were beneficial to her, I now have to learn to use as beneficial to me who's not in that journey anymore, which is a way to turn a man on, keep him going until you're ready to end it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You have it in you still.
So to use it to my
And just
own,
to your own advantage. And
yeah.
there's some powerful healing that can be done when you unleash the inner sex person in you.
Yeah, I mean, it feels powerful. And I
It
guess
is
I'm just afraid to go there.
right, because the rebel has always controlled it for you. You
Yeah,
your authority, you gave your authority to her because that was too much power for you.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Your words are always just so right to the heart of the thing, and I really appreciate that. It's
So I
not
want to
always.
you're welcome.
Go
I want to
ahead.
give you a little counseling when you next have time with your partner. Okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So start a little WhatsApp chat or something private between the two of you that begins to open the doors to some of the fantasies. Even if it's a cheerleader outfit, if something cheesy like that, all right?
Yeah.
Just let that chat grow and let your inner self answer back, tapping into some of that former you energy. Okay, because you're also looking something that might be fun for you. Okay,
Mhm.
or well, that's triggered the shit out of me. I don't want to do that because then it opens up self-healing work for yourself. Okay, so do fantasy talk. Okay, it can be the cheerleader, it can be this, it can be a variety of things. And the next thing is when you guys are in bed at night, make it a regular process to be close and in that nuzzling energy and to begin to whisper into his ear the next time the kids are gone, the little fantasies we have in our chat, which one would we rate as the best, the worst, and what new ones you can come up with. And it's important that you use that alluring whisper into his ear. It will trigger parasympathetic reactions to him that will charge him up sexually.
Okay.
Yeah, that's ASMR. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
You have your energy coming right into his ear, the power of the breath, etc. Okay? And you got to let yourself turn on that energy and allow that sexual energy to power up the voice. Because when you were a sex worker, you had a powerful voice that turned men on and turned them off. Do
Mm-hmm.
you recognize that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And there was a wink and a glow in your eye that meant you commanded men. You got to take that power back. And it starts in that whisper place.
And then use it for good.
And use it for healing sexual traumas, healing your partner with cancer. You're using it for healing those you love. There's no greater purpose than healing for those you love.
I love that. And can you, because my mind is going somewhere else, can you connect that for me to the Egyptian magic part of this?
You've done that many times in the past. Oftentimes, the bonded partners would become alchemical healers, learning oils, roots, potions, brews, all sorts of things. They would become master healers, hands-on body workers, energy healers. And oftentimes the partners would go into a sexual situation and harvest their unique energy into an object and then bring it into a bodywork situation to help cure a cancer, cure an animal, or have fertility in those that are not fertile. So it's not the sexual energy was to imbue into an object of power that would be used in a healing situation or an expansion of fertility situation or crops or helping heal a blight on the land.
Is that something I can still access or utilize?
It is, but you have to come to terms with the sex worker and the rebellious part of you first.
Of course.
Okay?
Yeah, I hear that.
Learn to command those powers at will, okay? Where you can almost telepathically transfer your sexual energies to activate him remotely so that he gets charged up for hours. You did that to clients in the past, right?
I
Charged
guess.
them up. Yeah, think about it. Think about it. You charged them up, and then when you wanted to have no more, you took that charge away, and they went flaccid, fell up, and passed out, and you moved on.
Yep.
Huh?
What is that skill to put people to sleep? It's weird.
It's vibration and frequency coming out of the heart. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the women have breasts. The breasts are a transmutation and transmission system of the heart. Having a man between your breasts can be a powerful healing energy for that man. It's not just there as mammary glands or sexual objects. They're powerful healing tools.
Yeah, wow.
Okay.
I'm dumbfounded. I'm speechless. Thank you for your wisdom.
You're welcome.
And your unraveling. I appreciate that.
Okay. It would probably be a good idea for you to go back and listen to this a couple times. Maybe even have your partner listen to it if you want him in on some of your stuff that you're going through, because letting him in might help. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you stop seeing him as a client. And unfortunately, there's a part of you that's still seeing him as a client and not your partner. And if you let your partner in, he won't be often seen as a client anymore.
Right. And that just comes from like the disgust, right?
Yes. The disgust.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to transmute that disgust into love.
Just by pure will and the fact that I do love him. And then I know he loves me.
It was a little bit more than will. It is a desire to change that disgust to no longer harm you, and to be on the journey of not letting it harm you anymore and taking its power away.
And same with the rebel, right?
Yeah, with the rebel and the disgust and all of the different aspects that are negatively affecting you now.
The anger, etc. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm making connections. I see it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, call us back in a month and let us know where you're at.
I will.
All right, darling. Take it easy. Good talking to you again.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. All right, Joel, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
All righty, Maria, I am giving you the signal to unmute.
Hello?
Maria. Hi, Maria. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from actually Colorado right now.
All right, welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
Actually, I'd like to talk about my health.
Okay.
What's going on with it?
Well, tell me about what's going on.
Well, years ago I had a blood clot, and I was wondering if I got it from zeolite, because 2 weeks after I stopped the zeolite, I had got a blood clot. So I wonder
how much zeolite were you taking?
I think it was 2 small bottles worth.
Over how long of the period?
I don't know how long they last. I forget, like maybe a month, 2 months.
Okay. You didn't have that from the zeolite.
Okay. All right.
So you have more than blood clots going on? What's going on with you?
Yeah, I was diagnosed with CLL.
When were you diagnosed?
Last year.
And what meds do they have you on now?
Nothing.
Nothing. Any particular reason why?
They said there's nothing they could put me on.
What side effects are you having?
None really right now.
Okay, so you're not having any side effects. So what's affecting you then?
Nothing. Nothing as far as I know. I was just wondering how it's going to turn out. I mean, what's if you see anything in the future?
Well, it's all about what are you going to do about your emotional challenges that you've had your whole life.
Okay.
Emotional impulses, hormones are getting out of control.
So what do you suggest I do?
Well, what were your challenges as a teenager growing up emotionally?
I didn't think I had any too much.
Everybody does.
Mm, I don't know. I don't. I didn't see anything as challenging,
Did you have
but
rough did you have rough periods?
I guess.
So guess yes or no.
Well, I didn't think so, but I'm guessing, like you said, maybe I did. I didn't think I did.
Okay. What was life growing up like as a child?
Um, well, when I was younger, I did get hit there, hit being the oldest.
Uh,
Um,
what
but
kind what kind of getting hit?
what kind of getting hit with the belt?
Okay. How often?
Every now and then, not I wouldn't say that often. I mean, I didn't I
And you
saw
think that
those.
and you think that created no emotional trauma in you?
Well, I mean, it might have, but I don't feel like it did.
I simply say it's time for you to look and relook at your past and have a more adult, honest view of the reality of what you went through and how it's affected you today. Did you go to college?
No.
Okay, why not?
I started to. I think I did like one courses, but no, I know I just got married instead, I guess.
Okay, do you have kids?
I have 2 kids, 7 grandkids.
Okay, how old were you when you got married?
22.
You're very young. Okay,
Yeah.
what was your partner like?
Well, he was an alcoholic at the end and a drug user.
Okay, and you don't think that affected you at all?
Well,
There's a theme showing up here, isn't there? You
I
have been
guess.
overlooking some of the reality of what you had to go through to make life easier on yourself. You have pent up emotions, undealt with anger inside you, and it's eating you away.
Okay. What do you suggest I do? Because I know they are supposed to do the Dark Night of the Soul, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do for that.
You don't do anything, it just happens. And then you realize you're in it and you have to use your willpower to get yourself out. Okay, it starts with you acknowledging the past and not covering it up and hiding it anymore. Okay,
Okay.
writing down some of the things you have put out of your mind and put a judgment to that I'm fine from it. You're not fine from it. And once you're able to define some of these judgments that you've been through, you'll be able to change the course and let some of these energies out, like taking pressure off of yourself, having emotions instead of no emotions. Okay. You have very little emotional movement in your energy field. Okay. You may
Okay.
think it's stoic, but it isn't stoic. Okay. It starts by
Okay.
writing things, acknowledge what you're going through, and then going and getting yourself some body work. Okay. Have you heard me talk about rolfing before?
Yes.
Okay. Um, it would be a very good idea for you to go and see a rolfer. They are some of the best deep tissue workers that can get pent up emotions out of the body so you can begin to use a newer vision to see how it was affecting you. Okay. And the
Okay.
second is it's time to start picking up spiritual practices, meditation, sun gazing, prayer, so on and so forth, and begin to trying to do them 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That's minimal effort.
Well,
So
no,
you
I
could go
I
ahead.
try to do spiritual work at least 15 minutes a day. I mean, I don't think I'm getting anywhere with it, but I do
Right.
that.
Okay.
Also, before when I'm trying to go to sleep, like I'm almost falling asleep, I always see these bushes moving. Do you know what that is?
That's your brain not shutting down.
That's all it is?
That's all it is. It's the brain trying to take control over your dream world to keep your emotions in check so you don't have dream terrors. Because there was a while you would have regular night terrors and you would wake up and purposely try to forget them and move on the day.
Yeah, because I don't remember any night terrors.
Because you forgot them purposely.
Oh, okay.
And that's how you were able to cover up some of the harsh parts of your life. Okay?
Okay.
You're not the only one that suffers from this. A huge portion of the population hides all of their traumas until such a time in their life where they've got to begin to deal with them. Okay, your journey is traumatic release, releasing it from the body so the mind can have a new perspective without all this secret energy weighing it down.
Okay. So the best thing is Rolfing then,
To start with,
to
and
start
then
with.
your spiritual practice. Instead of 15 minutes a day, try 30 minutes a day. And you got to measure yourself month to month, not week to week or day to day. And you got to hold yourself accountable to do month to month. You know, start doing ritual and ceremony too. Do you have a way to do an outdoor fire?
I could try get
Okay.
like a fire pit or something.
Uh-huh.
Um,
What's been the most passionate thing in your life?
well, my two younger grandkids, and yeah, I guess my two younger grandkids.
Okay. What for you, just you, not the children, or children or grandchildren?
Um, well, I like line dancing.
Okay. How often do you do it?
Well, 3 or 4 times a week.
Okay. So that's your steam valve that lets energy out and brings energy in.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Just like you were doing line dancing, the amount of energy that you're able to let go from line dancing, you got to be able to get out of your spiritual work. And right now, you're not getting the same energy or return on an investment that's from the spiritual work. There has to be a deeper joy in the spiritual work, just like you have joy when you're doing the line dancing. You have to find a way to not see it as chore or work, but beautiful, releasing energy that brings happiness to you.
Right. Well, I do try. Was trying to meditate, but I don't seem like I'm getting anywhere with the meditation.
That's
Is it
because your mind's still in charge. It's still covering up. If you were to enter a real meditative state, the pent up emotions might come out. That's why you're not getting anything out of it. That's why you got to get that body work done first. It'll make some of your other spiritual practices far more easier to do.
okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Can you tell me if I'm from another planet or where I'm from?
Everyone's from another planet. You came from the Pleiades around 32 million years ago, and you specifically came here to be a birther, meaning to give birth to high-powered souls, not low-powered idiots. Okay, you're here to teach other women how to go through that journey of having a high-powered soul in your womb, and for that high-powered soul to not turn into a dark-ass being. Okay, you were here to train the women from the grandmother's perspective of what it takes to be a grandmother and have powerful children who raise up to be good people.
So how do I do that? How do I get on that path?
Well, you got to start by healing yourself. Okay, and
Okay.
just because you had that path in the past doesn't mean that's its past now. The past does not always influence us to take up that journey.
Oh, okay.
Your journey this lifetime is emotion covering up your emotions. Now you got to re-experience your emotions in their fullness. Okay, you got to reach a level of raw, hardcore truth in which was very hard for you to accept before. Thus, you covered it up. Getting out of the denial aspect. Denial is not a river in Egypt, and yet you're sailing your boat on the river in Egypt. You got to park that boat, get off of it, and get out of the denial spot and into the acceptance spot, and allow these emotions to come out, these pent up emotions, and then learning to love yourself the same way you would love a grandchild.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I got a lot of body work to do then.
The body work will help open up the making the spiritual practices easier. Having a fire ceremony will put you in the challenge space of uncovering some of these emotions, doing some of the varieties of inner works. I have dozens of shows on it in the archive that you could go back to and listen to. We also have a product in our web store that's the basics, all of it, everything in one place, all the basic techniques for you to practice. Okay? Let me bring something for you to look at. Okay, it's fully explained with homework and everything of how to learn to do the basics of spirituality, as well as the beginning to do the inner work and what real inner work is versus not so good inner work.
Right.
Okay.
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 Yeah.
All right, darling, I got to move on to my next caller. Thanks for calling in.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, have a good one. All right, Joel, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
All right. If you're here in the Zoom room, go ahead and raise your hand from the React button. And while you're deciding whether or not you're going to call in and speak with Andrew Bartzis, go ahead and take a look in the show description. We've got a link for our webinar this Sunday. We are going to be talking about sex, spirituality, and individuality. Definitely recommend that you click on that link and sign up for the Sunday webinar.
And that is a free webinar, everybody. And do we have a bunch of chicken shits in here today?
I think so.
So for those that are new to me, I regularly call my audience chicken shits so they can come out and raise their hands. All those hundreds, if not thousands of people listening right now, none of you are adventuresome enough to raise your hand. None of you are adventuresome enough to click on the Zoom link to come in the room. None of you are adventuresome enough to click that react button and raise your hand.
All right, Matt, signal to unmute.
Hello.
Hi, Matt. Are you there?
Yeah, how's it going?
Good. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Washington State.
Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
Thank you. Well, I was just calling. I guess I have a couple questions I could ask. I could do. Is there like a topic to the show? I just kind of called in.
Sex. The sex show.
Oh, sorry.
It's anything you want to talk about, but the title's about sexuality and individuality.
Oh, right on. Okay. Well, maybe I could start with a health question. Maybe you could help me with.
Go ahead.
I for like the first time in my life, I have eczema, and for some reason, I can't get it to go away. And it's kind of screwing everything up for me.
Where is the eczema on your body?
It's on my legs, upper thigh.
Okay. Anywhere else?
Just on my left, mostly on my left upper thigh, and on my right upper
Is
thigh.
it a big patch or small dots?
It's small. I've been able to keep it very very minimal, very reduced.
Okay.
But I can't get it to just go away, you know.
So do you smoke cannabis?
I do. Yeah. I mean, before it, I was working out every other day. I was,
All right,
putting
so
smoke down.
this is a way for it to help get it to reduce the size and potentially heal it.
Okay.
So what you can do is go buy an ounce of green. You're in Washington State. It should be dirt cheap. Okay?
Absolutely.
Something decent like in the 17% THC, and if you could get any CBD in it, like 2% CBD would be great. And then you're gonna cook it down. You've ever cooked cannabis into coconut oil?
I got a little experience from back in the day. I think I can.
Back in the day, okay? You're gonna take an ounce, and you're gonna get a big jar of coconut oil, the good stuff, like a 30-ounce jar, 25-ounce jar. So the whole ounce is going to go into that jar. You're going to cook it down at 212 for about 45 minutes until it's decarboxylated. Now, what that means is all that entire ounce of THC, which has now been converted, will be a topical solution to your eczema. What you're going to do is get yourself naked and coat yourself top to bottom, including your scalp and hair, in that oil. Okay? And you can stay naked for about 10 minutes and walk around the house with slippers on. You know, obviously don't sit on your couch and shit, but let your body absorb as much as possible. Okay, start doing that 2 days in a row, and then you're still gonna have plenty left over. And then, do you have access to a bathtub?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, is it a big bathtub, a small bathtub?
Yeah. Small. I say small. Smaller.
Do you fit in it okay? Like, how much of your body can fit in
It's not like a clawfoot tiny tub. It's like a modern. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So what you're going to do is fill the tub up with as hot a water as you can stand, and put in 5 cups of Epsom salt into the water. Okay. You're going to coat yourself in oil and get in. Make sure you don't slip, and then take a measuring cup and take about 3/4 of a cup of the oil that has the THC in it, and add it to the bath water. Now, the Epsom salt, what that will do is force your pores to open up. And it will also force the oil to stay on the surface. Okay. So that means you could drain it and add more hot water, drain it and add more hot water. And the goal is to stay in there for about 3 hours. Okay. Now that cup of oil in the coating of your body, what it'll do is activate your skin to be high, not your brain. You will not have a brain high. You will have a body high. And that will go a long way at reducing the stress and anxiety that is causing the breakout of eczema. Also, the THC will give a tremendous healing journey to the skin where the spots are and begin to reverse it. Now, after you've done that bath, obviously clean it up. It's going to have an oily residue. Make sure you put soap on and clean it up.
Right.
You get out, and then go and lay it. Towel yourself off. By then you'll be shriveled like a prune, and put more oil on the inside of your thigh where it's at, and you can spread it to the rest of your body and put on some light clothes, so you can go and lay down afterwards and watch a couple movies, but enter the I'm not doing nothing, I'm relaxed state. That is the state where the body will do the greatest amount of healing.
I mean, that makes so much sense, because I got to the point like last week, I was just like, I had tried everything, tried every cream, every this, that, nothing worked. And I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna sleep for like 3 days. I'm gonna just answer messages in the morning, and then do the middle work.
What do you do for a job?
So I run my own company. It's we sell parts and accessories. I'm the gun guy.
The gun guy, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But so yeah, I've been doing that, and I was doing some. I was kind of trying to partner with this company who has a patent for like a food grade machine oil. So that kind of tapered off. But I think the stress leading up to like the build up, like getting the pictures ready and just working on like negotiations and what I would do, and just the anticipation of everything.
Emotionally burnt yourself out, and you began to have very subtle panic attacks. Okay?
That obvious. Yeah.
Now that 1 ounce of weed into that big jar of coconut oil, that's enough for you to take 5 or 6, maybe even 7 giant baths worth. And
Cool.
even you leave extent, you don't need a half of 3/4, or you can go down to a half cup of oil. Okay. But the key is coating your body on a regular basis. Okay.
Right.
And if it begins to reappear, you have to analyze yourself. Why am I letting the stress take over my life? What inside of me isn't able to handle the advancing of some of these things, and what can I do to decompress myself ahead of time?
Right. I think, that's been a big lesson kind of through this whole thing,
Yep.
Because, I'm like a dog with a bone a lot of the time. So sometimes I go, but.
Now, if you want to get a little bit more advanced, if you can find some cannabis that is higher in CBD, like something that's like 11% THC, 11% CBD, 19% THC, 15% CBD, that's the cancer patient drug. Okay. You're going to extract that into the oil, and then you're going to coat yourself. But you're going to need to find some kind of tight fitting clothes, like bikers clothes, like spandex. Okay.
I have like my jujitsu stuff, so I have like compression shorts.
Well, you're gonna want to coat you're gonna want to get long sleeve shirts and long pants, because you're gonna coat yourself, and then you're gonna reapply it. Those stretchy pants will hold more oil and allow you to slower drip feed it into the body.
I see. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm gonna try that.
Okay?
Yeah. Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Take that in, and like, there are times, like, let's say you're really finding yourself really stressed out. So take like I don't know, 2 tablespoons, put it in your hands, and rub it on the insides of your armpits and the inside of your crotch. It will have a tremendous anti-anxiety process for you.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Because your armpits and your crotch instantly absorb all of that stuff. Okay. And you have a lot of that stress, because the inside of your armpits is access to your lymph nodes, which will spread that THC all throughout the lymph nodes, which will give you a tremendous inner body relaxation.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. That sounds so good. Great. Yeah, I mean, because it's a double-edged sword too. It's like, I guess my other question was, what would you recommend at this kind of stage? Because physical activity is kind of hard. Because with the growth of it, but I'm trying to that's one of those things, like physical activity is something I really need. Just to expire, but in the meantime, it's just
well, you're gonna have to do upper body work.
Yeah.
They become Popeye.
Do something. Yeah, right.
Pull-ups, chin-ups, pumping weights.
Just like but like body temperature, is that gonna like affect, like, to just keep the body temperature like
overheated, or you need to get into the muscle growing phase so that you're producing stem cells.
Right
now your patches are appearing because you're not dealing with the long-term stress and anxiety, which is beginning to make you highly acidic.
Right.
And having exercise will go a long way to stop the acidic journey, but you're still not dealing with the core issue of the panicky energy in you when you don't feel like you're in control.
That's true.
And there's where you have to pick up a spiritual practice.
Right.
Got to learn to go into that meditative state and use the deep breathing exercises. Go and look at the Wim Hof breathing. And your meditation is just about breathing. And your goal is to not have any thoughts. Any thoughts that pop up, you use the breath to overwhelm the thoughts and stay in that breathing space. In the beginning, it'll only be a few minutes until you'll build up the endurance where you can get 10 to 15 minutes of intense breathing exercises where nothing is taking over your mind. It'll go a long way at reducing the anxiety and the stress. And then afterwards, you'll have these epiphany moments as your body is full with oxygen and new levels of intuition can break through the anxiety.
I will say I have been having a lot of good ideas, because I've been, because I mean, where I'm at, I can't work out. I'm stuck, kind of just taking myself right now. I got a lot of moments to just breathe and think about it. It helps. It helps a lot.
Good. And the other thing that will help take care of and if it starts popping up any other part is getting out there and getting as much sunlight on those areas, your whole body as possible.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay?
Mhm.
What's your diet like?
I'm very clean. I eat meat. I eat plenty of protein. I tend to maybe fast a little too much in the mornings, but I just kind of, I as long as I get, at least 50 grams of protein, I don't really care what I eat.
How much breads are you eating?
I mean, a balanced amount. I'll eat like 4 eggs in the morning with like 2 slices of like sourdough.
Okay.
And I'll eat.
So in a day, how many slices of bread do you have, or in an average of a week? Do you go through a loaf a week?
Yeah.
2 loaves a week?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay. It would be a good idea to cut it down to a half a loaf a week.
Okay.
And replace it with low or no carb tortillas, where the tortillas are converted where they all have dietary fibers in them. So whatever carbs they have are net carb neutral. And then you can use your low carb tortillas to replace the bread, which will go a longer way at reducing some of the gluten issues that could be going on. Gluten can trigger eczema and psoriasis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But in your situation, it's the anxiety and the stress combined with the other aspects of the acidic body.
I do kind of feel like it was just kind of like a perfect storm, telling me to figure it out, get the stress figured out. So, but I mean, yeah, it's great. I'll definitely play this back and that recipes.
All right. Thanks a lot for calling in. I got to move on to the next caller.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
So take it easy and have fun with your cannabis baths.
Will do.
I'll back in a month and tell us how it goes.
Will do. I will. All right. Thank you, Mama.
All right, Jewel, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
All right, Amir, signal to unmute.
Amir, are you there?
Yo.
Hi, how you doing today?
Good. How are you, Andrew?
Good. What's been like? It's been a while since we talked.
Yeah. I submitted my PhD, so I've been like I don't have an anchor in my life anymore, but I've been doing the best I can along whatever path I'm on.
Mm-hmm. Has your wife made the transition to the UK?
I think you're thinking of someone else, but
thinking of someone else. Sorry.
Yeah, that's so fine. My partner she's kind of as worn out as I was from helping out, stepping up, being the boss, looking after us while I've had all the PhD stuff to finish up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you talk about today?
Well, I was listening, loving everyone's stories and sharing about just the sexuality stuff, and I've recently had an experience that I thought might add to the conversation.
Okay.
My partner and I are exploring non-monogamy.
Okay.
And I recently had an experience with another partner who is just still so strongly in my field right now, and it's really like overwhelming, like oxytocin style. And there's just so many aspects of how it's playing out in a relationship and the realities of it, and I'm
discovering out really exploring the non-monogamy, what it could do to the existing relationship.
Yeah, well, it was something we've talked about it for like a year at least, and then we've gone through counseling together and discussed, and like we're signed up to go to a sex party soon, and we're kind of engaging in these worlds, exploring them.
Okay, so I got to ask a question. Was
Please.
It you that brought it up and continue to bring it up, or was it her, or both of you that brought it up?
Well, to be honest, it's her that brings it up because I like can't help falling in love with people every now and then.
So then you are the wrong person to be in a polyamorous relationship if you have a sucker for falling in love.
Yeah, well, non-monogamy rather than polyamory, I feel like
It's the same thing. Don't play with the words.
Okay, sure.
The more you play with the words, the more you delude the reality of polyamory.
Yeah, I'm here for this conversation. Call me out, please.
Yeah. So by your own admission, you fall in love very easily, right?
Absolutely. Love is
How
love.
is being in a open relationship really going to be beneficial for the existing relationship that you have?
I feel that the love and joy that I and we can experience in other partners can be brought back in and through our evolution of engaging with.
You're absolutely lying to yourself, and you're using your PhD words to convince yourself of our argument. But the fact is, you fall in love with someone else, it's like a teeter-totter.
Yeah.
Eventually, you will pull away from the other to love more because you can't help it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
You will not be able to split your love. No matter how much you philosophically want to say you can, you won't be able to. And unfortunately, in the vast majority of polyamorous relationships, that is the truth for people that getting into it. They dilute their love, and they have to go back and forth between the two, and then they reach emotional instability and not emotional parity.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm aware of that. I know that.
Why does she want to explore other sexual partners?
It's more just for me, I'd say. I think she's doing it because she loves me and she sees that I am that kind of.
Okay, so
I have that tendency.
Before when I asked you who was the one that brought it up, being in an open relationship, and you were saying it is her more, was it you that regularly brought it up and kept it in the conversation?
No, it was her because I was doing that. She's finding a way. Like she's introduced all these terms to me. I didn't even know that polyamory was a thing.
It to you, so that I just want to make sure that we understand something here. There are times we do things and we don't know we do them. There are subconscious aspects driving this. She is beginning to see a quality in you that she believes will be beneficial to having other partners.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever asked her what is that quality that she believes in that's beneficial to see other partners, and what will it change in you?
No, I haven't.
Got to ask those questions.
I'm
telling you right now, you can't split yourself, and you, by your own admission, you're a sucker going to fall in love. It's going to tear you up eventually. Okay? If you're going to do anything, you and her stay as a couple and bring somebody new into the relationship for a limited basis and process, so that that she is still a rock in the ground. New person's not just a toy, but an adding to the energy of the relationship that can make a triangle of love and not a other partner with secret energy behind it.
Yeah.
Okay. Way more beneficial for you getting into it, because she's going to see you go into that puppy love energy. And maybe that's what she wants out of you, because it's a pure joy. But eventually, like I said, that teeter-totter is going to go more into the other partner. You're not going to be able to stop it.
Yeah.
Okay. She'll be there to help you. Hey, and the other person too.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, sex party. Now, a sex party. Okay.
Are you there? Sorry.
Yes.
Hello.
What do you think?
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
All right, can you hear me now? All right, can you now?
I can hear you,
Hello.
Andrew.
Yeah, I just had to be unmuted. Are you there? Sorry. I think you're on mute now, Andrew.
All right, can you hear me now?
I can.
All right, yeah, I ended up getting muted for some reason. All right,
That's cool.
so I was saying, what do you think's going to happen at a sex party?
Yeah, well,
What's your vision of it?
I don't know. I've seen porn sex parties on videos.
Porn is
but
not reality. Porn is not reality.
I've heard from other people that have gone that there's like you meet up, you chat for a bit, and then everyone slowly just like breaks off into rooms, and then it kind of evolves from that.
Until you have the people that have been doing it for years, and you have the bondage room, you have the whipping room, you have the tickle room, you have the piercing room, you have all sorts of different weird sex acts going on. You have the old man in the corner with a cane beating people.
Yeah.
Okay, are you prepared for kink like you've never seen before?
I want to lean into it. Yep. I want to try it. I'm in a yes phase of my life. So
okay. My advice for you is you and your partner should experience having another partner in your bed as a threesome before you do a party.
Okay.
And let the emotions of that really reign true before you dump yourself into the meat market.
Yeah, thank you. That's helpful. Yeah.
Because you don't really know how you're going to react. Like, it's very hard to unsee shit. Okay? Like the old man in the corner beating people with a cane, they love getting beaten by the cane. Okay? And when it's your turn to get beat by the cane and you don't like it, or all of a sudden it makes you weirdly hard. Why? Because you're now absorbing the energy of that room and have no coping skills with it. Okay? You've never been in a polyamorous relationship where you and your partner have a threesome or a foursome. Experience that first before you go and do the sex part. The sex parties will always be there for you to go to. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, how would your partner feel about having a threesome and the two of you actively finding someone to be that part of a journey?
Yeah, I think she'd be into that. We've talked about that before.
This is more than talk. This is do stage.
Yeah.
And who's going to pick the person?
I guess we'll just pick them together.
How? How does that work?
Well, you bring up somebody and say yes or no, and if it's not
so
mutual,
you really think you just walk over, hey baby, you want to have a threesome with me and my wife? You think it's gonna work like that?
I guess at some level that's like the end point, but obviously you got to get to
it's not.
People
There's a tremendous amount of confidence and faith growing in yourself that's got to go into it. There'll be a lot of stress and anxiety. What if they say no fucking way? Get the hell out of here. What's that going to do to your ego or your emotions? Okay. Thus, why you have to have that experience before you go and do the sex party. You've gone through the actual journey of searching and the stresses that it's there for both of you, the actuality of doing, and then the afterwards of, wow, was it good? Or was it oddly inconvenient and fun? Inconvenient meaning you didn't know what to do with two at first until you let yourself go into that deeper open state. And then maybe one partner's really saying they're ready for it, but when push comes to shove and you're all three of you naked in the bed, she turns into a dead fish and doesn't say anything. Okay. You won't know that until the moment, which includes you. You could shut down or you just want to watch. Okay. That's not being a cuckold. Okay. That's a positive energy to it. Okay. Sometimes you just got to experience those different aspects to know what's right for you.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. Like experiencing it so that you actually get a clear sense.
What do you really want to have out of having extra partners? What do you see through your fantasy vision of not experiencing yet?
It's not really about the sex. I feel like it's more about the intimacy and the closeness and just being present with someone, like having the.
Are you particularly skilled at spooning and nuzzling and sensual touch?
I could stand to be more skilled, I imagine.
Okay.
I feel like.
Are you able to control your hard-ons when you're laying next to someone so you don't have a fill up empty energy until you can't get it up anymore because you didn't actually have a release?
I don't think that. No, that doesn't sound like me.
Okay. Well, that will happen, is what I'm going to try to tell you. When you add an extra partner in a sex party, you're going to be filled with all this excess sexual energy. And your cock will blow up a little balloon and deflate, blow up like a balloon and deflate, and then you're just going to start leaking pre-cum everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You got to learn to internalize the if it takes over, either right away go into a sex act or internalize it slowly and bring that energy back into you to keep filling you with that ecstasy state.
Yeah. Yeah, that ecstasy state is what I've been experiencing with some people externally from our relationship, and that kind of leads me, and I think in a naive way, to sex, but also like just staying with that energy and allowing that to be the extent, because I feel like that's the energy that I'm after anyway. I don't need the sex necessarily, but it just seems logical that that energy would come from sex.
Have you heard of the term cuddle puddle?
I have heard of the term cuddle puddle, yeah.
Okay, so it happens at a lot of raves where everybody gets on top of each other and cuddles in a big puddle of people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you're technically looking for in your own definition here.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Well, cuddle puddles often turn to odd sexual relationships inside the puddle, which then spreads to the rest of the people like a wildfire. Okay.
Yeah.
So work with your partner of getting that cuddle energy built up. See if you can find the extra partner or two. Okay. Okay. And work on that energy. Work on that process of experiencing that, what you just described. Because there's going to be a moment where you've had enough cuddle and you're rock hard and you're going to take the top of a mountain off with your cock and you got to go. Beat your chest and go like King Kong.
Yeah.
Letting that carnal energy just flow. Okay.
Yep. I was wondering about.
Remember this term. You can't unsee shit.
Yeah, that's
okay. When I was a limo driver, I took people to sex parties and kink parties and bondage parties that had level 1, 2, 3, and holy fucking shit levels. Okay. And I had no choice. I had to go in with these goddamn people because they were vendors in them. Okay. So I saw shit I didn't want to see. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm there in this weird ass sex party, kink convention in a tuxedo.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of target was on my back?
Yeah. That's right.
Okay. And these fuckers knew it when they brought me in like that, just to see how I'd react. Okay.
That's not cool.
I was very, very. I got complimented many times of how stoic I could be. Or just get an eyebrow raise out of me. Or a, oh, what? Okay.
Yeah. So you've seen some shit.
Yes, I've seen some shit. Okay. The very first one I walked into, so there's a guy with four giant hooks inside his pectoral muscles, the back part, and he's hanging from these
Yeah.
hooks, and he's jacking himself off and skeeting on the crowd.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
That was a level 2 party.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you can't unsee shit.
Yes, you can't unsee shit. Okay. And you will take it home with you. And is it going to carnally turn you on when it should disgust you? Okay.
Yeah. Might become.
Wait till you see the old man and the old woman in the corner with a false leg beating people with the false leg. That's common at some of these damn sex parties. Okay. Old grandma looker with a false leg beating people with a false leg.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be hard for me to unsee the mental image of a limo driver raising an eyebrow, being trying to step on straight up and it's funny right
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, brother. I got to let you go and move on to the next caller. Thanks for calling in. Fun talking
Thanks,
to you.
Yeah. All the best, brother.
The rest of you too. All right, Joe. Let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Okie dokie. Lucy giving you the signal to unmute.
Lucy, are you there? Lucy.
Can you hear me?
Lucy, yes, I can hear you. Where are you calling from?
I am calling from New Mexico.
Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, I spoke to you maybe over a month ago. You may not remember, or you may remember, but it was we had a discussion about me working at a university foundation. And you had mentioned that that was probably not an area that I should be at because it was really draining me. And I took your advice.
What did you do?
I resigned.
How did it feel?
Weight off my shoulders.
Okay.
It's a toxic environment. There's a lot of people, a lot of really, really good employees that have been let go, and some that stay. It pays well, but of course they have families and so forth. So I think I had a little bit more of a I guess for me, it was, I don't care how much you pay. I don't want to be treated that way or see how others are being treated. And
I do remember you now.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, and we talked about getting contract work, and that's probably where, because I did some of that in the past. Left, took a break for about 3.5 years, and came back into corporate into that foundation. Okay. So, when I left on a Monday, by Wednesday I had another job.
Universe lined it right up for you.
It did. It aligned. Now it was lower paying in an area that is still in the hospital, more in a hospice environment, but still in the HR area, which is kind of my area. However, I felt like it was like a stepping stone, if you will.
Sure.
And
got you out of the stress. Got you out of the stressful environment.
Yes, definitely. Now being in this particular new role, it takes me back like 20 years. I mean, it's very manual. People are nice. People, and it's a good environment. But I know that it's a stepping stone. I would hate to leave, but it's like, well, I gotta look out for myself. I had a friend who actually went through a bone marrow transplant that during that 3 years that I was off, I kind of was with her and supporting her through that journey. She recovered, just came back from the Olympics, and she got a job as a chief HRO officer with the city of LA in a particular department that works in or works in around the electricity area. And so she contacted me and was like, how would you like to do contract work? And so it's flowing. It's flowing very well. I feel it's exciting. My hesitation is I left San Francisco because of I needed a break, but also the energy, and I'm going right back into LA potentially. And I was wanting to get your guidance as to whether that is an opportunity for me to pursue.
All right, so you helped a person go through a bone marrow transplant and survive it and get back into the work field, and then that person offers you contract work. That's spirit saying, take this opportunity.
Yes, and she's my best friend. We've known each other for 30 years. So
right. That's spirit saying, take this opportunity. Doors will open when you do it. Powerful doors of expansion.
And in the role that she wants me to come into, it's process improvement type of work and system implementations, which is kind of my background. But I've been away from it for about 5 years.
But you could brush up on the skills easily.
Okay.
It's just putting yourself into pre-training for the job. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Getting that mindset back.
Okay. And one of my thoughts is, as I mentioned in their previous conversation, I'm probably about 4 or 5 years away from retiring. And I really love where I live. It's got these Oregon mountains, and I really like to have some property there. But being in this role right now isn't going to aid me in. I can purchase the land and so forth, but to build and do things like that, I need more income. So okay.
If you were to sell the property with the existing mortgage, what kind of benefits would you have?
Well, actually, I would be purchasing the property. I don't really.
Okay, you're renting now, or?
It's a long. I own a house, but my sister has really been, because I had traveled a lot. She's been that. So we're trying to purchase the property together. It's a large property, where she'd live on one and build on her end, and I'll build on my end. And I have like the down payment and all, but when you don't have, the land is just raw land. So when you don't have structure on it, the banks really won't lend you. And I kind of worked myself out of debt and didn't really want to, deal with banks.
Well, it sounds like this job could get you into the net positive.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, that kind of relieves. I hate to leave the job that I'm currently in because I've been only maybe a month and a half.
It's a stepping stone.
Yes.
You stepped on that stone, move on. Okay. Don't feel bad.
Okay. All right. Good. And I have 2 other questions if you have time.
Sure, go ahead.
We recently last week lost our last pet animal. She was a Chihuahua. She was about 14 years old. Her name was Kara. And my niece it was my niece's puppy. My niece lives with me and her daughter. And she's really taking it hard. And is there anything that you can share with me that I can share with her that may console her?
For a Chihuahua to live 14 years means that dog had a very powerful soul and did her mission. And what did that dog teach the family?
Oh my gosh, this dog was her life force. Like it was. She went through a lot of um, her journey. From a young age,
Mhm,
18, 20, was an alcoholic. Had
mhm,
her child. Went into rehab. Went back to school. Got her master's. Straight A student.
mhm,
Working a good job, and this little dog was with her throughout that whole journey.
mhm.
And for the whole family, even with me, I would walk the
Yeah.
dog and do all that. So she showed us a lot of love, and she showed us to love
And how to forgive, and
and
how
how
to
to
be in a
forgive.
pack, how to
Yeah,
trust each other, how to protect each other.
yeah,
Okay. The
yeah,
big lesson to pass on here is that dog and that family held everything together energetically.
yeah.
Okay. It also means you need to replace that dog pretty soon. And
Whew.
know that the next dog that comes in was meant to be there by spirit.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
Would that be her pet or?
It'd be the families,
Okay.
but it could be hers too.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Dogs don't really delineate between owners and non-owners if they live with someone. Okay. Obviously, they have
Okay.
their favorites. Okay.
Hmm.
They have those they bond with. Okay. And I know it's
Hmm.
challenging to replace the dog right away, but that dog wants the next dog to take over because that next dog will have whole new sets of lessons to teach
Hmm.
and you to teach that dog lessons too.
Okay. Yeah. She had not been feeling well, and my niece made the decision. It was like a Monday. She made the decision that Saturday she was going to put her down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Tuesday, um, I had her on my bed, and I was talking to the dog, and I said, you've lived a long, good life, and she lived um, a good life. The dog was very spoiled, only ate organic food, the whole thing. But I mentioned to her, I said, if I know you're not feeling well and all, but if you're ready to go, it's okay. We understand. We don't want you to hold on just for the sake of holding on. But I mentioned if you need to go, it'd be if your decision is to go naturally. Because I know that if my niece would have made that decision to put her down, it would have been more difficult for her.
It would have been
And the
more
next,
traumatic on her than it would have been
sure,
on the dog.
sure. And the
Okay.
next day, the dog passed
Okay.
by
Message from
herself without
spirit.
anybody around. And I think
Message
that
from
was
spirit. Right.
okay. Okay.
And that's another reason why that dog needs to be a new soul needs to be added to the soul family.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for that. That
You're welcome.
helps. That helps relieve the pain, the sadness.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
And
my
your other
next,
question?
yeah, I was wanting to ask if perhaps you could do a galactic reading on me, kind of like where I originated from,
Okay.
perhaps.
You came from Arcturus 33 million years ago. One of your purposes of coming here was being in the massive refugee train of souls that had lost their worlds. And while you were in disincarnate form, traveling between sun and sun and sun until you arrived here on Earth, it took you about 2 million years to travel here. You were able to help a lot of souls heal themselves from the traumatic loss of their world. And then when they got here and you started living in the astral worlds, you were an astral teacher of how do people make anchors into this physical world. And you would teach people on the incarnational journey from spirit to physical form. And while you were in physical form, you had the power to speak to spirit and help people in the astral world figure their journey into physical form. And as the crowd and community of those that have taken on physical form, you help guide them into a more bonded into earth versus the loss of your old world. It is a mourning journey, a celestial. You help people go through the loss of a celestial source and then bringing in a new celestial source that could fill the new vision of the soul's grander purpose of incarnating. And you've been repeating that journey over and over again. But 32 million years, you've been doing a lot of other things too. Okay, that was your original purpose, and then you evolved and realized there's far more for you to learn here as an old soul, because you came in as an old soul, and you started going through the ups and downs of what Lemuria was, what Atlantis was, how the rises and falls of different societies created brand new visions and experiences. And you moved away from this, helping people go from the celestial mourner into an advanced high consciousness soul on the very edge of what's new for a soul to experience. And crowds formed around you. You formed with other crowds. You made unique soul families that helped make some of the founding lineages at around 200,000 years ago that still exist to today, by storing wisdom inside the DNA for the future generations. And that's essentially what you've been doing, farming wisdom from previous lifetimes, finding lineages that have physical forms, embedding that wisdom inside the lineages, so future yous and future other people would have access to this lost wisdoms.
That's a lot to soak in.
Okay, but now what?
Right.
You have to
Absolutely.
access the wisdom you stored for yourself. That's your journey now. How do I access this wisdom I stored for myself? How does it enhance my journey? What spiritual practices can I begin to do at the basic level to connect with my body? Much like the first caller, going through that embodiment journey. Okay, being in the body at a whole new level than you've ever been before. That is why we are born, to be embodied, realized in beings of faith, in interconnectivity.
Yeah, I feel that I heard of you and known of you since about 2020, and I've been doing the revocations every morning. I do several of your revocations to get ready and all, and the heart meditation is great.
Have you been able to do any rituals or ceremonies or fire ceremonies?
I that part I have not, and I fall into that category where um, it, it's not procrastination. It's more of you got this backyard, you got other people around that can see. I live in New Mexico. It's like 110 degrees right now, 106. So it's hard to do like a fire outside, but I know that you can do other types of
You can do
rituals.
other
But
you can plenty of other things you can do. You can get
I
a
can.
charcoal grill or a gas grill so you don't risk forest fires. Okay.
Right,
You can
right.
cook on it. You can cook on it and consume that energy. So there's all sorts of many ways to skin the ceremonial fire.
Yes, and when I go to bed, I mean, I feel like I have this connection to our solar being, and it's like I I have my sacred space, two sacred spaces, but one of them is, um, kind of going in from into the entrance of a tree, and then going into a landscape of just this beautiful forestry and waterfalls, and but the sun just kind of penetrates, and that's kind of where I have my ceremony and my fire.
Yeah, but that's in your mind. That's not in physical form.
Right, right.
Part of your embodiment journey is doing it with the physical form and making the body fully a part of it. That actualization and realization of embodiment. Okay.
Well, when I took this job, I negotiated time off because I know that you're having your um, sessions in October, the conference, and it kind of got sidetracked when I left that other job, and the monetary and so forth. But if I take this other job in California, I may be able to do that conference if it hasn't already been filled. I don't know if you still have openings or not, but that's kind of I wanted to go through that to help understand how to build those ceremonies and how to be.
Well,
I feel like when I do it by myself, I don't really quite get whole picture, the whole.
But you have to learn to do it by yourself. So we have a product in the store called the Basics Boot Camp. There's 2 levels to it. All of the wisdom, everything I've ever said about the basics of getting started, doing ritual ceremony, doing daily practice, of journaling, fully explained. And in the level 2, it goes really in depth into what inner work really is, how to advance your ceremonies. That's where you start. That's where you start. That's why we made that product for those that are in the situation where you are, where you need to up your game. And the only way you're going to up your game by getting yourself a schedule and everything fully defined on how and when you practice and what those practices do for you long term, how they change your frequency.
Mm-hmm. Now, is it more in depth or in detail than the mystical course?
It's more in depth. Yes, it's the actual techniques explained fully.
Okay.
All the different basic things that I've talked about over the 10 years in one place.
Mm-hmm. Now, is your recommendation for me to take those courses in lieu of the conference?
Yes,
okay.
It will be far more beneficial. And we're going to have another one coming up soon, another conference.
Oh, wonderful.
So it's going to be, we're going to take our ambisonic sound system on tour. So.
Oh, great. Arizona or California or New Mexico.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Well, that was my questions. I in gratitude for you, sharing especially about the animals. I
Thank you.
appreciate that.
You're welcome. All right, John. You have a great night. Good talking to you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
All right, Joel, we're going to call it an end to the show. If you guys would like to have a session with me, you can go to my website, andrewbartzis.com, and sign up for a session. We have a live phone number now where you can call and talk to my PA and get all the information about a session, how to book, how to deal with Zoom. Look forward to seeing you guys in a private session. All right, everyone, have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for our Friday night Loosh report. Follow